Okay, finally, let's talk about how sexuality develops through the lifespan. In childhood, not much is going on. Children are mostly just marked by a curiosity about their bodies and have questions about reproduction. Where do babies come from? Very small children are just starting to learn about their own bodies. So if you have a 3-year-old who just keeps sticking their hand down their own pants, don't freak out. That's extremely normal. Embarrassing, but normal. Adolescence is a time of more overt and intentional sexual exploration and experimentation. In the US, children and adolescents learn a great deal about sex from the media, which can be problematic because that's not very often a realistic representation of how sex and relationships really work. Um, Something that is of increasing concern is sexting, which is when people send each other inappropriate messages or images via social media or with their phones. And so that can be a big problem. People think, oh, I'm just sending this to this one person. But once it's out there, and you have no control over where that image ends up. Adolescent sexual identity is influenced by social norms related to sex. So, the way that adolescents tend to identify themselves sexually and decide what is appropriate or inappropriate is very much influenced by how they perceive their peers, whether they think that their peers are having sex, whether they think that their peers are using protection, and so on. So, it's very important to be aware of who your adolescents are dealing with and what kind of role models they have. Some concerns about adolescence. Because adolescence is when a lot of people are starting to engage in sexual behavior, a lot of people by the end of high school have engaged in sexual behavior. One concern is that many adolescents are not emotionally prepared to handle sexual experiences. Early sexual activity is linked with risky behaviors such as drug use, delinquency, and school related problems. Also, too many sexually active adolescents do not use contraceptives or use them inconsistently. It's not uncommon for adolescents to receive only abstinence only education for sex, and so all they know about sex is don't do it. And so if they do it anyway, they don't know very much, if anything, about how to protect themselves in the process. One study found that 50% of US 15 to 19-year-old girls with unintended pregnancies ending in live births were not using birth control when they got pregnant. And nearly half of the 20 million new sexually transmitted infections in the US occur in 15 to 24-year-olds. And finally, adolescent pregnancy creates health and developmental outcome risks for both the baby and the mother, such as low birth weight and depression. So it's something that merits looking into and being alert about. Next, moving into emerging adulthood. So we're talking about 18 to 25 years old here. At the beginning of emerging adulthood, so at about 18, over 60% of individuals have experienced sexual intercourse. And by 25, the majority have done so. At the same time, the average age of marriage in the US is currently 29 and a half for men and 27 and a half for women, meaning that most emerging adults are sexually active and unmarried. We're seeing an increase in casual sex, including hookups and other sexual risk factors, so those are becoming more common. You'll also see things such as the designation friends with benefits, and that's also on the increase. Let's talk about changes in sexuality as we age. For women, as we age, our fertility starts to decline. It declines for both men and women, but it's much, much more pronounced for women. Men don't lose the ability necessarily to have children, whereas this definitely becomes an issue for women. The term climacteric is just that midlife transition where fertility declines. Think like climate change. Uh, but with your body. Women eventually experience menopause. This is when the woman's menstrual period ceases. This is usually during the late 40s or early 50s, and you can officially say that you've hit menopause when you've gone one full year without having a menstrual period. Now, it's not like everything is running smoothly and then just slams to a stop all of a sudden. There's a period called perimenopause. This is a transitional period from normal menstrual periods to none, and this can take up to 10 years, so it's a gradual process. Now, once women hit menopause or maybe the late stages of perimenopause, you may experience symptoms such as hot flashes and whatnot. There are things you can do to help alleviate or reduce some of these symptoms. So, one is hormone replacement therapy. That's a very common one. Although some people want to avoid that because long term use of hormone replacement therapy, long term being like more than 10 years, has been linked with an increased risk of certain cancers. So, some alternatives to hormone replacement therapy include really just taking care of yourself, engaging in regular exercise, mindfulness training, taking dietary supplements to make sure that there are no gaps or imbalances in your nutrition. There are some herbal remedies out there, relaxation therapy, acupuncture, non-steroidal medications, hypnosis, aerobic training, and yoga. So there's lots of things. So basically, taking care of yourself, which is a good idea at any stage of life, but it becomes especially important as you get older. The more you take care of your body, the easier it will be for it to deal with whatever is coming its way. And then in men, again with climacteric, we do have a decreased fertility, but unlike women, men do not lose the capacity to have children. Testosterone production and sperm count do show a slow decline, and sexual drive can be reduced later in life. Erections are often less full and frequent, and more stimulation is required to achieve them. But this can stem from physiological problems such as smoking, diabetes, hypertension, elevated cholesterol levels, depression, and lack of exercise. So, again, just like with women, the more you take care of your health, the better things will be. Men can get testosterone replacement therapy. So, just like with women, there's hormone replacement therapy available, same with men. This can improve sexual functioning, and it also has other positive health benefits as well. And erectile dysfunction is common in aging men. So all you have to do is see how well Viagra sells, and you would know that. Finally, when it comes to middle and late adulthood, it's not like we stop being sexual beings. Sexual activity during middle and late adulthood might occur on a less frequent basis, but part of that is due to all the other things going on. So people have their careers, they've got family issues, they might be caring for adult children, and also very aging parents, or just their general overall decreased energy levels. These are all things that could contribute to a decline in sexual activity. Excuse me. Living with a spouse or partner seems to make a huge difference. Availability is a big part of it. So when you have the energy and the time, that can happen. And again, health in middle and late adulthood is really a key factor in sexual activity. You have the ability to be happy and healthy and sexually active throughout your entire lifespan. But a big part of that is going to be up to you and how well you take care of yourself. So eat right, exercise regularly, take care of yourself emotionally and psychologically, and you have the makings of good times forevermore. Okay, I will talk to you guys next time, and I hope you have a good day.